Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the PSBlue Podcast, available everywhere. This is episode 29. We're getting close. We're getting close to 30. I'm joined again by my wonderful co-host, Adonis. How you doing today, man? It's been a little while. I mean, we're on different time zones now. I moved, so we're trying to do every week, and hopefully that's gonna happen now. But everything's up in the air. Is your life a little bit more stable than mine? Or are you feeling like you're pretty good right now?
Yeah, I mean, things are normal. It's just finding ways to remain productive while living your life. That's kind of hard.
Yeah. Everything gets in the way. It's just like life, just how it goes. I mean, and then it also doesn't help that Shadow of the Erdtree came out, which we are going to get into very soon.
Very good.
Talking about life balance, I mean, Elden Ring is the only game. I was going to ask you what you're playing, but I'm assuming it's just that because that's all I'm playing right now.
That's all I'm playing
for the most part. Everything, I don't know what it is about Elden Ring, but every time I play that game, if I'm coming back, when I played it for the first time, I just cannot stop. I can't stop playing, and I'm not like that anymore. I'm 30. We were just talking about work-life balance, and I do have a little bit more of that, except when it comes to Elden Ring, which we will dive into. I also picked up Dragon's Dogma 2, which I told myself I wasn't going to play because it's just a massive game and it looked amazing, and I just didn't have time to sink my teeth into it. But I did it, and it's really good, and I'm a little bit worried for my free time. Anything else, or just Shadow of the Erdtree? You playing anything else?
No, you already know. That's
okay.
Literally everything right now.
So let's just dive in because I know that we both want to talk about it. Today's episode includes, of course, the Elden Ring DLC, Astrobot, V Rising, Kingdom Hearts 4, and more. But first, the quote of the week. Shadow of the Erdtree again. We're just going to be talking about this game all podcast, so just brace yourself. In regards to Shadow of the Erdtree, last week Adonis said when asked, 1 to 10, what is it now? Is it still hovering right around a 10? Adonis said, quote, hell, absolutely yes. I mean, the game's going to change lives. The DLC, it might as well be a game. But the DLC is going to change lives. I can't wait for it, end quote. Did it change your life? Do you want to defend that quote at all?
It's not even up to what I say anymore. Like, that was my prediction, and the rest of the world, the consumers of the game, major media companies and their reviews, I mean, it's the highest rated DLC ever.
Is that right?
It's the highest rated DLC ever. Second is the Witcher DLC. I don't know which one it is, but Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree is the highest rated DLC ever. That's it.
It's and we're going to get into it later in the episode, but I just quickly, you could just say yes or no, and then we'll leave it at that, and we'll talk more later. Is it a possibility for Game of the Year, whether it be on this channel or, the actual Game of the Year? Like, what is it a possibility?
No.
Okay. All right. We'll leave it at that, and we'll talk more in the latter half of the episode. I put Elden Ring last. Again, we got a lot to talk about there, so I wanted to clear up the time. This other topic is so exciting to me, and it might sound a little bit ridiculous, but I am so excited for Astrobot.
I'm looking at it.
I'm just so happy Asobi is getting a full $60 price tag game because this studio is phenomenal. Do not sleep on Asobi. They are a fantastic studio, and they've been basically relegated to doing, the gimmick games. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, those games have been very good too, but the PlayStation 5 controller game, quote unquote, the PSVR game, things of that nature. But they are getting a full-fledged $60. They could have charged $70, I believe, for this as far as I'm concerned, but according to the PlayStation Store, it's $60. This got announced a little while ago. Like I said, we took a couple weeks off again. I'm hoping that won't happen in the future, but it was Elden Ring and then Astrobot. Those were the two things that I couldn't wait to talk about. Adonis, you gave me a couple of looks, so I'm just going to toss it over to you, and we're going to talk about Astrobot. For those of you that don't know, it is a mascot platformer from Asobi, which is a Sony first-party studio, and it is a full-fledged game that they announced. This game is coming out in August, I believe, and the sort of prequel or precursor to this is the PS5 tie-in game. It was a free game that kind of showcased the capabilities of the PlayStation 5 controller, like I mentioned. Yep, that's it. Adonis, talk to me.
I mean, the game looks fun. It kind of reminds me, or it plays like a 3D Mario kind of game. You know, there are clips of the little Astrobot getting big and like running around the map. So it looks like it's a lot of fun. I think you mentioned full $60 price tag. The game is under review. I want to see more from the game, especially if it's going to cost $60. Like, in my mind, looking at it, I thought 30 is cool. But since it's $60, like, I'll just look at more gameplay. I'll see exactly what is in the game that you're getting to justify the $60, but it doesn't look bad at all. It looks like a pretty fun game.
But you're not denying that price tag, because that's where I thought you were going. But it sounds like no. It sounds like you're if the game offers the appropriate amount of content, you're okay paying $60 for this.
Yeah, it looks fun. That's it's okay. Like, in a world of, and we'll get there, you know, in a world of plant demons and guys that are calling you in mongrel invader, it's okay to take a breath of fresh air. It's okay to take a break. I mean, that's fine, and this game does that. It's a breath of fresh air. It's fine, and I'm cool with it. If it offers the right amount, $60 ain't bad at all.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I totally agree. I think it's a good change of pace. It's one of those games that you could probably go into, play a level before or after you play your main game of that big chunky playing session. Like, you know, the end of my Elden Ring 15-hour Elden Ring session, I might need to cool down with some Astrobot. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about their games. Okay, these are the games that Team Asobi has developed. In 2013, they developed The Playroom. Do you know what The Playroom is?
Yeah, that's the that's in the screen, the game screen, opening screen.
Yeah, it was like a PS4 like launch tie-in with the camera. Then they had The Playroom VR in 2016. Then they had Astrobot Rescue Mission in 2018, another VR game. I didn't play it, but it's supposedly one of the best PSVR games. Then they had Astrobot's Playroom, which we talked about, the 2020 PS5 controller tie-in game. So this developer, this is their debut, basically, into this $60 world. Their debut into a like actual big product. Astrobot will be the next Sony mascot. They're trying to do it with Sackboy, but Astrobot is it. Astrobot's got, a little bit more like lasting appeal to me than Sackboy does. And this is coming from a Little Big Planet fan too, but and I played Sackboy: A Big Adventure. I love mascot platformers. I thought
Sackboy was something else. I like Sackboy.
Yeah, I thought it was great, but I just have a feeling, it's just a gut feeling, that Astrobot is more marketable and more Sony. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just a gut feeling that it's going to last longer than, because Sackboy is kind of getting phased out. I feel like, even though we did have Sackboy: A Big Adventure, you just don't see Sackboy in the marketing as much as you used to.
No.
Yeah. Anyway,
I haven't seen any announcements for that game either.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, Astrobot, what is Microsoft's Astrobot? What is Microsoft's Sackboy? I mean, they have Master Chief Halo. Like, do they have something like this?
No. It's just It's in the single lane of PlayStation and Sony, and that's where it's fine. It's
Yeah,
good.
but I think it's good too, and I think it just goes back to that point that Sony is that boutique studio. You know, they don't have the capital, the firing power, money wise, as Microsoft does, but they have the IPs, they have the creativity, in my opinion. You know, you see more of that with third party in Microsoft land than you do in first party, which third party is usually both consoles get it anyway. But we could talk about the console war another time. I want to move on. Oh, I'm so sorry. I need to ask you this before we move on. Did you play the PS5 tie-in game, Astrobot?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God, are you serious? You didn't play that?
Mm-mm. I didn't play it.
Okay, this is what we're gonna do. Download Astrobot. I think it's just called Astrobot. No. Astrobot's Playroom. Excuse me. The new game is called Astrobot.
Oh,
Download
you mean the Playroom?
Astrobot.
I've played that.
The 2020, the PS5 game.
No,
Yeah.
I've not played that.
So you got to play it. It comes with your PlayStation. So even if you don't have PlayStation Network, it just comes with the PlayStation. So you have it, 100%. It actually came pre-installed, so you probably deleted it. But go on the PlayStation Store, download Astro's Playroom, play it, and report back. It is a very small commitment. It's a little micro-sized, bite-sized game, and then you'll see why I'm so excited for Astrobot, because the stuff that they do with the PS5 controller is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Like, you walk over sand and you can feel the sand. The resistance and with the triggers it's elevated in such a way that we haven't seen it yet from anybody. And then also the gameplay is really good. The platforming's great. It's just and they just make all these nods to Sony's history, and it's really fun. So play that, get back to me, and we will move on. I'm so excited for Asobi to get this big, massive release. I'm not as excited for this next topic, to be honest with you.
Uh-oh.
Kingdom Hearts 4.
Yeah. What is this, leaks? What's going on?
So there's been some Kingdom Hearts 4 details leaked, supposedly from a credible leaker. This is courtesy of GameRant.com. According to an established leaker, Kingdom Hearts 4, codenamed Quattro, will have small online features and look very different from the first trailer. Rumors suggest the Kingdom Hearts series, including Kingdom Hearts 4, may come to Nintendo Switch's successor, so the Switch 2 or whatever they're going to call it, expanding its multi-platform strategy, which we talked about in a previous episode of our podcast, how Square is doing away with third-party exclusives. I think that makes sense. Like the timed releases. I think it's called a third-party exclusive. My vocabulary might be off there, but anyway. Kingdom Hearts 3, for those of you that have listened for a while, it has been a point of just depression for me, is the only way to say it. I am a huge Kingdom Hearts fan. Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 are two of my favorite games of all time. The third game was absolute garbage. It was so bad. Fight me in the comments section. It was terrible. I don't want to get into why it's terrible. I mean, let's just say, long story short, the game was way too easy, and the Disney branding was completely, severely just destroyed and mismanaged, in a very stark contrast to the way that the first two games did not mismanage the Disney IPs. Anyway, the bar is so low for me as far as Kingdom Hearts 4. Like, I could not care less about Kingdom Hearts 4. Obviously, I'm going to play it because I'm a Kingdom Hearts stan. But
yeah, it doesn't matter how bad the leak is. It doesn't matter if they say, "Oh, we're going to change the menu." You're still going to play the game.
Yeah, 100%. I will admit that. I will be the first to admit that. But my expectations are extraordinarily low. But do you have anything to say about this Kingdom Hearts 4 leak specifically, or Kingdom Hearts 4 in general? You know, they're calling it Quattro, I guess, for 4. and then there's some sort of a beta coming, and the online thing and the multi-platform coming to Switch. Any comments on any of this, Adonis?
Well, leaks are bad. Leaks are trash. They're not fun. Leaving it up to your imagination is good in the world of gaming, because sometimes leaks can hurt your game. Like if you're a studio and you want to put this out, and I guess they are in 2025. As far as the leak goes, I've played some Kingdom Heart, and I am a fan of Kingdom Heart. I hope, this small online, I hope that's not true. I would like for a bigger online presence in this game, because I think that's fun. I think it'll be an incredible feature. But I'm sure Square Enix will do the right thing.
Yeah, and it's funny because they have in a lot of ways, except with Kingdom Hearts. It's Tetsuya Nomura probably just had his hand in too many things, because Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I have not had a chance to really talk about it that much on this podcast, but let's just say I just beat it 90 plus hours later, and that game is just a Game of the Year contender. It is phenomenal. It is the story, presentation, everything, the way that they handle the source material, if you can call it source material, because it's still the same. I guess it is source material, the original Final Fantasy VII. Just everything about that is just so excellent. But yeah, it's Kingdom Hearts 3. It came out to PC recently. Or I think it might have been on PC. I think it was Steam, maybe. Yeah, that's what it is. It just came to Steam a few weeks ago. I don't really have anything else to say about this. It's just, Kingdom Hearts news I have to cover in some capacity, because
it's Kingdom Hearts. You have to. It's the only way.
It's my franchise. I gotta cover that. But yeah, I am cool to move on if you are. Just a little kind of quick topic.
Yeah, let's roll.
Yeah, all right, let's roll. The next topic I want to talk about is V Rising. V Rising has taken the streaming world by storm. It has taken the PC world by storm. It is for those of you that don't know, a survival top-down MMO. Maybe you could call it an MMO.
I'm watching gameplay right now. It's interesting.
Yeah, and it's vampires.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, maybe, I don't even know how to explain it. I haven't played it, so just bear with me if my interpretation is wrong. But the way I understand it is it's kind of like I don't play this genre very much, so I'm blanking on the name, but it's basically you build your own castle, you have to defend it, you have to survive. It's a survival game. But then there's also, I think, bosses, and I don't know if MMO is the right word, because that's what I'm reading off of an IGN little description in one of these videos. But from the way I understand it is like you kind of have your own server, kind of in the way that like maybe a Minecraft does. Again, I could be all wrong with all of this because I haven't played the game. I just know it's huge. I want to cover it, and I wanted to get your opinion on V Rising, Adonis.
I just watched some gameplay of it. It looks fun. It looks cool. This is something I definitely would play, because like I said, I'm watching gameplay. I watched a little bit before we started, and I see this idea of, like you said, building your own base. It's
base. That was the word I couldn't think of.
Yeah, it's like it's multifaceted, because it's a survival game, but there are bosses, but you build your own base. So looking at it, I'm pretty high up on the totem pole with this. I like the way it's looking, because you got to understand, for me, when they build, when this vampire is building the base, it kind of reminds me of Clash of Clans. I love that game.
Yeah. In a good way or in a bad way?
I love the game in a great way.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I love Clash of Clans. So
I don't mobile games usually don't resonate with me, so I didn't know.
Oh no, that game got many hours of my time. And I mean, this looks cool. I mean, once again, I don't think I've touched it before. I don't think I've seen this title before, but I'd be willing to give it a chance. You know, it's got
Well, that's surprising because it's kind of been everywhere. Like a lot of streamers are playing it, and it's been a pretty big game. It has a Reddit with 80,000 members.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, I mean it's pretty active community, and it's not an MMO. Apologies for saying that. I don't know why IGN put that on the video, but it's like I wouldn't consider it an MMO. It's kind of what I was saying. It's a server that you can either join or create, I guess, and kind of like, I don't know if you've ever played like on a Minecraft server, but it's kind of like that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not opposed to trying this game. It looks open world, like animals. You can get smithing skills, crafting skills. Like you can level up. Yeah, I'm cool with it. This game could definitely be added to the backlog.
I think the thing that appeals to a lot of people about this game, from just, you know, some of the research I've done, is the fact that there is survival. Some of that is like very much front loaded, it seems like, but there are bosses. There is like a quote unquote campaign that you can, and it's live service, I believe, so like things are always changing, but there are cool bosses and enemies and things to do, because and that's kind of the appeal for me of a game like V Rising. Like the vampire thing I think is cool, but what's cooler than that for me is sort of the world building, not in the vampire character sense, but in the enemies and progression sense. Like it seems like there is a very good progression system here, and that's again one of my biggest problems with those survival games is you're building a base, you're building the new weapons, you're trying to get the best armor and like swords for what though? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
To do what? That's just how I feel about a lot of those games. Like there's no end goal, and I think this game has a very interesting balance of Diablo-like and survival-like. Just again, on first glance, don't butcher me in the comments if I'm way off on this. But yeah, I mean, it just came out for PlayStation, which is a big deal. It's I don't think it's on Xbox. It's on Windows, but I don't think it's on Xbox. It is not. It's on Windows and it's on PS5. That's probably, again, bear with me, guys. This is some of these topics are from a few weeks ago, and I'm trying to catch up here. I think that's the main reason I put this on the podcast, because what does that say? That I don't want to get too much into the console wars, but PlayStation has
it's not even a war. It's a landslide. Come on.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Microsoft's not hurting though, because they have PC. You know, they'll never be hurting because they have PC. They have Bethesda. They have their
Bethesda
sort of
got on board,
multi-platform.
So
yeah, Activision. They're going to be just fine. But interesting that it's on Microsoft but not on Xbox. Just things like that always kind of make me kind of question what's going on behind the scenes. What do we not know? Why is this only on PS5? Why?
Hopefully Xbox just puts their pride aside and says, hey, let's get this. Because I mean, for a game gauging like the model of success, the game doesn't need to sell millions of copies. Like you said, they have 80,000 Reddit users. Like I think the game has done just fine. Why not add it?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. It's got to be like some exclusivity deal with Sony.
It's got to be.
Or I don't think it's a development problem with developing for the Xbox, because the Xbox seems very compatible with PC games. They have a Castlevania tie-in too, which is very cool, where Simon Belmont is a boss.
What?
Just side note. Very cool. All right.
I'm about to watch some gameplay on that.
Let's keep going, because we really want to get to Shadow of the Erd Tree, but before that, I got to talk about Kingdom Hearts. I got to talk about Astrobot. Adonis, I wanted to give you a chance to talk about a game that I have a quote of you telling me.
Go ahead and tell him.
This will be the game of the year.
Damn right.
So, and I'm talking about Black Myth Wukong.
Oh,
the game's
God.
imminent. It's coming out in August. I mentioned in a previous episode that I thought it was going to get delayed. It does not look like that's going to happen. All signs point toward an August 20th release. We're getting new gameplay. We're getting new story content. What say you about Black Myth Wukong? Adonis, the floor is yours.
My body's ready. My body's been ready. I want them to hook this game up. I want them to melt the disc down into a liquid, put it in an IV bag, tap my arm, make sure you can find the right vein, put it directly into my body. It is going to be absolute. I mean, it's just, I've been excited for this game since E3 when it got announced, maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. And I know we were talking about delays, and I mean, I am, and I think the gaming community, even outside of Wukong, but when it comes to a major title, we're okay with studios pushing it back. Hell, I mean, Grand Theft Auto has been pushed back for what, 12 years? But as long as when we get the game in 2025, it is seamless, it is flawless, it is beautiful, it captivates us, and it reminds us why Rockstar is the king when it comes to this, Grand Theft Auto franchise and what they've given us over the years, then I'm fine. Same principle applies with Wukong. It just so happens that they're still going to, like you said, they're going to try to stay on course and aim for an August release. If they do that, it means the game's got to be ready. And from what I've seen running on Unreal Engine 5, the Souls-like bosses, this game, it's going to be game of the year, man. Nobody's listening to me. Nobody believes me. Oh, Final Fantasy remake. All right, that's cool. That's cool. Just wait.
Rebirth. Excuse you. Rebirth. Yeah. Remake came out years ago.
It's going to have to re-die or be re-second to Wukong, man. I'm telling you. This game is beautiful from start to finish. It apparently follows the lore of the Monkey King and his enemies and who he fought. So I'm just... the transformations, the open world, the dialogue. I have no bad things to say about the game by way of gameplay and what I've seen so far, and I don't think I'll have anything bad to say about it once the game comes out and I sink my teeth into it.
Yeah, it's based on Journey to the West, which is a Chinese novel from the 1500s. So it's extremely popular. I think the game looks gorgeous. I think the gameplay looks really, really tight and good. And, what you see is sort of what you get is sort of my prediction for Black Myth Wukong, which is great. It's great. I mean, you see the God of War influences. You obviously see the Souls influence. And you see their own sort of spin on it. As far as gameplay, as far as presentation, as far as sort of taking this generation to the next level. I think this was a game that promised a lot when it was revealed long ago, years ago. And it gave us this sort of vision of what the next generation could be. And I think it's going to deliver. I don't think it's going to be game of the year on this channel, on any other, maybe on some other platform, but I don't think it's going to be a consensus game of the year. I don't.
All right.
I might be wrong.
When people get their hands on it, they're like, "Oh my God!" It's not too late to come over. You can be on the right side of history, Anthony. It's okay to do that.
It looks good. It's an 8.5 minimum. I'm not saying it looks bad. You're conflating two different things. It's gonna be a great game. I'm gonna play it day one. It's not the game of the year.
Okay. It seems like you have not aligned yourself on the winning team. And that's okay. It's all right. People that have gotten their hands on this game early have all said the same thing. Best action game, best.
Really?
It's gonna take some time for people to warm up to it, and that's okay. I'm on the right side early. I know exactly what I'm doing.
You're an early adopter. Yeah. You sure are. I mean, it's we get so many Souls likes now, and it's great. We're spoiled. I love it. I'm a very big Souls fan. But did you see Stellar Blade? Did you play it? Did you watch gameplay of it?
I watched
gameplay
of Stellar Blade.
Yeah. Stellar Blade to me is like awesome. It's like a near Automata crossover with a Souls game, and it's great. I have not played a lot of it, but I've played enough of it to know that it is a very good Souls spin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not my game of the year. Not even close to my game of the year. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I don't know how this game is going to separate itself from Wolong Fallen Dynasty, from Stellar Blade, from Rise of the Ronin, from other games that have come out, Lies of P, other games that, I mean, just kind of take the Souls genre and perfect it, perfect their spin on it, I should say, not perfect it. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. From Software is the only one that can perfect the Souls genre. Lies of P came pretty close though. That little South Korean studio came pretty close. I will say that.
Lies of P was pretty
but let's talk about the real deal. Can we please?
The real deal, Holyfield.
Can we talk about the real deal? Can we talk about Shadow of the Erdtree?
I mean, I've been waiting for you to do that all day.
I've been blazing through these topics so I could talk about Shadow of the Erdtree. First of all, I don't want to spoil anything for you. I don't want to have anything spoiled for me. So let's just get on the same page here. How many hours in are you? I just don't want. I want to make sure that we don't spoil anything for each other. How far into the expansion are you?
Maybe like 20 hours, 25 hours.
Okay, so you're probably ahead of me. I'm right around the same, but I don't mean this in like a bad way. If anything, it's self-deprecating. I play the game differently than you do. I play the game like an absolute obsessive compulsive weirdo, and I go through and put markers around each little tiny part of the map and make sure that I circle this part of the map. And yeah, I don't do this.
Well, I have myself prepared to say, oh no, we both like to explore. Anthony, it's cool. We probably do play the same way. I don't do that. You're in a league of your own, sir. I do not do any of that. I'm
telling you,
that is compulsive, buddy.
I don't do this with other games. It's only an Elden Ring thing. I don't want to miss a thing. I had to let it go one time. I remember I was playing and I saw like a corpse with an item up on like a cliff that I couldn't reach, and I had to just tell myself, you just gotta let it go. It's probably just like a mushroom or something. You just gotta go, or you're not gonna finish this DLC. And I was like, I had to really kind of turn the gears in my head to allow myself, because I just want to see every inch of this map. So that's all I meant. Your 20 hours is probably not my 20 hours. You're probably ahead of me if I had to guess. But yeah, no, that's literally what I do. I take markers, and you can only use 100 markers. So I run out, and then I have to like figure out how to, communicate to myself that I've already explored this area. But I take markers and I put all the markers in a line, and I use it to make a circle, and I circle the area that I've looked through, and then I expand the circle, and then I expand it, and then I expand it until
you might need to talk to somebody, man, if you're doing stuff.
I might. I'm telling you, I platinumed Elden Ring in 45 minutes. And what I mean by that is, after I was done doing my thing with the game, I looked up the Platinum Trophy Guide, and I was basically done already. I had to save scum. Yes, I save scummed because I didn't want to do the whole storyline again 2 more times for the different endings. But other than that, I had to find one item, and I popped the platinum trophy just like that. Like, it was that easy because I was that thorough. And I am not this type of a gamer. I'm telling you, I am not this type of a gamer. But for some reason, Elden Ring's got this secret sauce that brings out the worst in me or the best in me, depending on your viewpoint. Okay, so
like, yep, depending on the viewpoint.
So having prefaced all of this, keep it Castle Ensis, keep it beginning, like the first area. I'm blanking on what it's called, but keep it to maybe like to your first 10 hours of gameplay. I don't need a spoiler. I really don't want a spoiler. As you can tell, I'm like drooling over Elden Ring DLC. So, but go ahead, talk to me. Tell me your initial impressions. Tell me everything you want to talk about. Just go.
In regards to Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, in my first 10 hours, I was elated, I was ecstatic, I was ready to go. So much, in fact, that once I left Mogwin's palace and transported myself to the Shadow Realm, because I think that's literally what it's called, I died. The very first enemy I saw one-hit me. So what the hell is this? This feeling inside me, this welling up of anger, this is what I want. Like, this is what I've missed. And I took that anger and I enjoyed and have enjoyed this DLC exponentially. From the bosses to the items to almost, as we put it, because once we talked about the price point in previous episodes, we knew it was going to be chunky. It was going to be hefty. So it's practically a new game inside of a game, as far as the new enemies and the new weapons. Like I said, the bosses, and we don't need to get it started on bosses. I mean, I understand they got review bombed on Steam, and to all of those people who did review bomb the game, you're weak, and you shouldn't be playing Shadow of the Erdtree. For you to get through Elden Ring, the game, to go through Millennia and Radon, and then go, this game is too hard. Come on, man. You could just get your refund. I could take you over to Weenie Hut Generals, and we can get you a lollipop and put that Band-Aid on that boo-boo of yours. You know, like, come on, man. Listen, I have been through bosses that have taken me 200 to 250 deaths. It's cool, because when I wax that ass, I'm up out of my computer chair flexing on them. They can't see me. That Elden Ring boss might be just code. It might be data. But to me, I whooped that ass, okay? You bow to me. I am your master now. That's fine. Like, all that review bombing stuff is trash. My first 10 hours, Anthony, I loved it. It was great and it was beautiful. What about your experience?
Let's talk about the review bombing for a second, because I 100% agree. And they do this a lot on Steam.
Trash. A
lot. They review bomb games when they're not happy, which is great in one sense, because it means that the court of public opinion is powerful, right? Which is what we want. We want that. Mm-hmm. But not this. Not Elden Ring. Stop.
Come on, man. They were writing articles about Sekiro, and now they're review bombing Elden Ring DLC on Steam. Like, what are you guys
It's not. Listen, if you can't beat the bosses in this game with a summon and the unique leveling system that they've given you, and you're level, I don't know, 180 to 200. I'm playing the game on New Game Plus, because I accidentally started New Game Plus before the DLC came out, and I found out there is New Game Plus scaling, so like the bosses are a little bit harder.
There is New Game Plus scaling. That's why I'm still in playthrough 1. I have not New Gamed yet.
Yeah, I did a stupid thing, and after I beat Elden Ring, I started a New Game Plus because I was like thinking I was going to do some weird build.
Look at you.
And I haven't seen the worst of it yet. Again, I'm 20 hours in, but
you have not.
Yeah, no, I know.
Take it from me, Tarnished one. Oh, boys. This game gonna test you, but not to the point where I'm out here with my thumbs like staring into a bright white screen like man. Like no. Like, I'm cool. Like, I take a break. I'll get back at it again tomorrow. But it will test your might, man. I'm telling you.
Because it's not there's one fight in the game for me, DLC and base game combined, where I'm like, this is cheap. This is stupid. One fight in the entire game plus the DLC that I've played so far. And it's a fight where you have to fight a dragon. It's in the DLC. And
the optional
you have
boss?
to fight a dragon. What?
Is it the optional boss?
It's just a dragon. I don't even know if the dragons count as bosses. Not R'Lana. R'Lana was not cheap, but R'Lana was bad. But it's a dragon, and I don't know if it was maybe just because of my build or just, I'm sure if I had AoE, if I was a sorcerer, it would have been fine. But there's like 50, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it felt like 50 enemies attacking a dragon, and you ride your horse up to it.
Oh, I left him alone. I got sick of that because the enemies would come after me. I got tired.
That's the problem.
I'm like, y'all stupid. Like, y'all are stupid. I'm like, this dragon is beating y'all asses and you worried about me?
Exactly. I mean, verbatim, what I was screaming at my TV. It took me way too many tries to beat that.
And for what? A dragon heart? Yeah, miss me with that.
Yeah. I've never done a dragon build either. Yeah. But I still did it because I'm obsessed with doing it all.
You want it all.
But it took me way too many tries. And like you said, the enemies aggro you instead of the dragon, which when you first ride up to it, you're like, oh, this is really cool. You get to fight alongside your enemies to kill this dragon. And you take one stab at the dragon and they all turn on you and start whacking you and stun locking you with their giant hammers. And you're like, oh, okay, this is what we're going to do. So that was the only fight I've ever experienced in Elden Ring. And there's been plenty in other Souls games. Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 1, I believe. Definitely Demon Souls, where I'm like, these fights are cheap. But that's the thing with Elden Ring. There are no cheap bosses. If you die, it's your own damn fault. If you die, it's because you dodged at the wrong time. You blocked at the wrong time. You tried to attack when it wasn't your turn to attack. If you die, it's your own damn fault. And that's why I think these bosses are so addicting, because it forces you, and I hate the whole get good sort of like subculture. Like I think it's funny what you said earlier, but like I kind of disagree with it a little bit. Only because it distracts from all the other great things about Elden Ring. Like Elden Ring is not just a game where you're supposed to get good. It's also amazing story that you kind of build yourself. It has like just really cool progression, awesome combat system, literally the best level design I've ever seen, and lore that is deep and involved and for you to explore. So that's all I'm saying. The get good,
you wait.
Yeah, the get good thing kind of reduces the game to something that I don't think it holistically is. But anyway, the point of all this is, like, I think that's the reason why we keep coming back, because it's your fault. It's up to you to evolve as a player, get better, and understand the boss. And it's addictive the way they do it, because it seems so close yet so far. When you get the boss down to 3 hits to go and you die, how do you not respawn and go right back in? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And then your controller goes through the window.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about, mild spoiler alert. First of all, that dragon thing wasn't a spoiler. It's just a dragon in the overworld.
Yeah, it's a dragon.
Not a spoiler.
It's not a boss.
So I don't feel bad about that. But mild spoiler alert. You can fast forward about 10 minutes if you don't want to hear about one of the bosses. But R'Lana, did you beat R'Lana?
R'Lana to what?
R'Lana is
the dragon
twin. The twin blade.
That was ass whooping 101. That was not hard for me. I saw a lot of content online, which most of the content I consumed early on, I made sure that in the title of the video it said no spoilers. But people were getting their ass whooped by R'Lana, and that was easy. That was easy work for me.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What kind of build do you have?
Oh, it's not it's not accepted, and it's frowned on by the Elden Ring community. It's just
Is it
like
a bleed build?
damn right it is.
Oh no.
Yeah, but it's not like Rivers of Blood like spam. It's not that. It's like a Reduvia dagger plus a like crit talisman.
This is just so crazy.
Yeah,
like we're
so
literally playing the game completely differently. I'm doing a Unga Bunga strength build. Just pure strength.
oh, you're gonna have fun then towards the end of the game.
You think so?
Well,
I mean, that's how I play most of these games, and
I know so because your build's gonna favor you.
I hope so.
in the late stage of the game, because now, I mean, it's like Unga Bunga's good because there's so many favorable weapons for strength builds that are good.
Yeah.
And you get more. Like I won't spoil anything, but there is a weapon that you're gonna get in the DLC that I think is one of the best strength-based weapons in the game. It is just, it's just
so
big damage.
The Rune's Greatsword is probably it's an S scaling strength weapon. I don't want to get too granular for those of you that aren't at this level, but it's an S scaling strength weapon, and it hits like a truck. And I was like just one-shotting everything in the DLC New Game Plus. So I actually took it off, and I switched to another greatsword that's really good, but it's just like the Rune's Greatsword is just, to me, one of the best strength items in the game. So if it's better than that, I'm like kind of curious about it.
It's real good. It's really good. But you being the adventure type, I won't say it's gonna take you a while because you platinum Elden Ring. Like, come on, man. But you're gonna have fun finding everything because there's a lot of stuff that's, I wouldn't say tucked away. You just kind of got to take, in one area of the map where you take 15 minutes and just kind of run along the edges to see what you can find. You would take like 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, like, this is exactly what the base game was. And what did we talk about for a year plus? What did we talk about? They just need to give us more of the same thing. That's exactly what they did. And they innovated in some ways too. They added this leveling system that let you not kind of over level and kind of encouraged exploration and gave you a sense of progression, even if you had a level 800 character. I think that it's just more Elden Ring, and it is brilliant for that reason, because Elden Ring was brilliant. It's easily one of the top 3 games I've ever played. Tell me why.
Up there.
And I think I kind of know what your argument's going to be a little bit, but I want to hear it from your mouth. Tell me why Shadow of the Erdtree cannot be Game of the Year. You said in our quote of the week, first of all, let me just reiterate that it's basically its own game because you called it a game instead of a DLC. So just tell me why it can't be Game of the Year. And don't mention Black Myth Wukong, please.
I mean, it's like, it's a model. It's a standard thing. So even though we love it, that's standard. That mark has already been hit. And Elden Ring got it. So, like, when you go and in this criteria of figuring out your game of the year, I think one of the major criteria is something new and innovative. And while the DLC is technically new and technically innovative, I feel like the model of the game is not. In determining a game of the year, like, for consuming it and going, well, how do you feel about it? Give me your review. Amazing. Life-changing still. Like, it's great. But like, when you change that to, well, do you feel like it can be game of the year? I don't think so. Like, it's, once again, it's a great Souls-like game, and I think FromSoft did a great job, but they've hit the mark once. I don't know if you can hit it twice.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's a really good answer. And I think that's part of the reason why I couldn't give God of War Ragnarok Game of the Year.
Same thing. It was amazing.
So good. But it's more of the same. You're absolutely right. And I think that in for my, what it's worth, for me, I don't think I would give Shadow of the Erdtree Game of the Year either. even though it's my favorite game of the year by a mile, I think you're right. I think Game of the Year should be innovative in some way. And I think Animal Well is a serious contender. As weird as that's going to sound.
Sounds real weird.
Yeah. I think Animal Well is a serious contender. I think Rebirth, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, for the same reason that you just talked about Elden Ring, might not be able to. I mean, the problem right now, not to get too off topic, but the problem right now with Game of the Year is it's kind of a soft field, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like it's still wide open for a game to come in and just steal that Game of the Year title. You know, I don't, there's no game that I look at and point to and go, oh, that's it. Where last year I already had 3 by March and they all changed by December, you know?
Damn. That's how it is, but I just need you to get through it. I'm not even done with it. I have a coworker who's, he is an Elden Ring fanatic, so he's already done with the DLC. And I told him about a boss fight I got into, and I'm like, man, like, he was so tough. Like, this, I'm close to the end, right? And he just looked at me and shook his head. I was like, oh, okay. All right. I was like, all right, let me just go and prepare myself a Tarnished one. I'm like, damn. Like,
see, that much I can tell. That much I can tell that I know I'm not even close. I know I'm not even close. I know I there's still 2 maps that I haven't even, that are like grayed out for me still.
Yeah, I fought a pretty major story boss, and he was like, no, you're not even close.
Really? Wow. So what we'll have to do then is we'll have to do a spoiler cast when we are both through with it, and we will just make a whole episode of the podcast out of it. You know, I don't think it'll be episode 30, because hopefully we're going to be recording next week. I'm all set as long as, you're good and we don't have any scheduling issues. I don't think I'm going to be done with it next week. So it might be episode 31 or 32 or a bonus episode or something, but I want to have an in-depth spoiler cast about Elden Ring when we're both through with it. So that's something we'll definitely do, and you guys can definitely look forward to. But other than that, I mean, it's just, it's more Elden Ring. It's great. If you are listening to this and you had any remote interest in the DLC, you probably already played it. For those of you that are holding out hope because the game got review bombed on Steam, ignore it. Ignore it all. I'm telling you, if you are an Elden Ring fan, if you can beat the first Elden Ring, the base game,
you'll be fine.
Then you have nothing to worry about, especially if you use summons and stuff. If you really get stuck, I haven't used a summon yet, not to brag or anything, but I'm like pretty good with trying to not use summons. I don't care if it takes me 500 tries. I want to do it without a summon because to me they're cheap, but whatever. The point is, don't let the review bomb scare you. This is great. This would be a game of the year for me if it weren't for the things that Adonis said. And I still think it has a shot. I do. Because there's nothing staring me in the face right now going, oh, game of the year, game of the year, game of the year. So for me, it still has a shot. But play it. And you probably already have. You probably already clicked off of this podcast because you're like, what are you talking about? You're just repeating everything that we already know. But if you didn't, I appreciate it. And I thank you for being here with the two of us. As we kind of get back in the groove here. I know we've said this a few times, but life happens and bear with us, okay? If you don't want to come back, don't come back. No, please come back. We need all the listeners we can.
We need all the love.
Any closing comments, Adonis?
No, it's good to be back. I know you're settling in, so best of luck with that, and see you next week. Thanks, guys, for listening.
All right. Take care, guys.